So I want to do something meaningful with my time that really resonates and helps other people. And as boxing was my kind of passion, I thought, well, I'd open a gym.
This episode is brought to you by True Tone Media. A lot of business owners know they should be doing video to interact with their potential clients, but video can sometimes feel awkward, particularly if it's scripted or you're kind of sitting there like a hostage in front of the camera trying to share your story. And that's where True Tone Media is different. It's relaxed conversations, it's interview led, like you're just having a chat with me. There's no acting or pretending to be someone different in front of camera. And that's why it works. That's why people relate to it. If you're interested, have a look in the show notes for True Tone Media and book in a conversation. We can have a chat. Okay, back to the podcast.
Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders, and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Seb Scilly. Seb, great to have you on the show.
Thank you, James. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Seb, for those of us who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do here in Bishop Stortford?
Okay, my name is Sebastian Scilly, Seb Scilly if you like. I've lived in Bishop Stortford for most of my life, been around the town 55 years or something like that, so I know a lot of people. I am the CEO of the Strongbox Charity, and we are predominantly, our main activity is running a community boxing gym in Bishop Stortford. So our gym is located in Twyford, so it's central Bishop Stortford. And here we are. We've been open 6 months. And as I said, we're providing cheap and very affordable and very welcoming boxing and fitness for the community.
Fantastic. I was having a look at your website. The amount of people that are coming down and using your facility at the moment looks absolutely incredible. What was the spark for starting a boxing gym in Stortford?
Well, that's a good question. So me and my colleagues have been involved in boxing for many, many, many years. Combined between us, been boxers and coaches and all sorts of stuff for many years. The combined experience is probably 200 years or something from the coaches. There have been boxing gyms in Bishop Stortford before, primarily what you might call unlicensed gyms. There's nothing wrong with what they do or how they're performing, and indeed that's probably how I got into the sport in the first place. But this is an England boxing registered gym, so we are registered with the UK governing body of amateur boxing. So England boxing has 1,600 UK clubs, and the importance of that is we hold annual competitions and national championships and regional championships and all this kind of stuff, everything you'd expect, and lots of competition in between. But for instance, if you would want to become an Olympic boxer and go to the Olympics, the pathway is through England boxing. So for instance, probably some of the famous people that have been with England boxing, or virtually every pro boxer that you can name in the modern era or in the old era, has come through the England boxing system. So in Hertfordshire, for instance, Anthony Joshua would be a huge name that people would know. If you're further afield, Ricky Hatton. And if you went back in time to kind of my era, your Nigel Benns, your Chris Eubanks, Frank Brunos, they would have all been, at England boxing clubs. That would have been their grassroots beginning in boxing.
And so what was your spark for starting your gym, and how did it get going? Because you were telling me before it was an interesting story about how you managed to get the site.
Well, I've coached at several other gyms before this. And if you like, I was doing that for about 6 or 7 years. If you like, that's doing your apprenticeship in boxing coaching, if you like, learning from some really fantastic coaches at their clubs in Hoddesdon and places like that, and going to tournaments abroad and having fantastic success with these people. But there wasn't necessarily a England boxing gym in Bishop Stortford. And personally, my situation is I'm retired. So I want to do something meaningful with my time that really resonates and helps other people. And as boxing was my kind of passion, I thought, well, I'd open a gym. I was looking around for somewhere to put the gym or open the gym for quite a while. And, the rents, the industrial rents in Bishop Stortford are, quite expensive. It's an affluent area close to the airport. And I was struggling to find something, but I came across a building that unfortunately had a bit of a checkered past. It had been used as an illegal cannabis farm. So the poor landlord had let this building out in good faith. The criminals, if you like, had created a bit of a front company and put a small little shop in the front. But really behind it, they had a full, proper cannabis factory, if you like, on 2 floors. We've actually got 2 floors in this building.
Wow.
So they've cut holes in the floor to have ladders going up and down, and put in irrigation systems and chopped up the electric. I don't know, they just completely smashed the place to bits. You couldn't believe how bad this place was. The landlord, of course, when we approached them via an agent and, well, what do you do? And he's obviously a bit nervous, had a very bad experience. A boxing club, I can understand why he was probably not so keen at the first. Who are we? Can we afford it? Are we going to pay our rent, or are we just a bunch of, thugs or something? But it's a funny story, actually. So we didn't really manage to make music and agree to take on the lease of the building. And one day I just happened to say to a friend, I said, do you know this particular guy? I said, you're in property. You know this guy? He said, I know him really well. I said, well, you know him and you know me. Do you think you could put us together somehow and we could try and sort this out? So that's what happened. And we took the lease on the building last summer. And through the help of a lot of volunteers and donations and using my network of friends, builders, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, everything like that, buying quite well, we managed to spend all summer setting the building right and building a fantastic training space. As I said, we have 2 stories. Downstairs is more of a studio space with a lot of cardio equipment, different types of training equipment, and a lot of punch bags, and we have more space downstairs. Whereas upstairs, we have the boxing ring and the toilets and the kitchen and everything like that. So we're fully equipped. We've got lots of PT-style equipment, and boxing is what we provide.
It's wonderful. And so how many people have you got coming into the gym at the moment, and what kind of things are you delivering?
Well, I'm very fortunate in that we have 6 coaches that work with me, the majority of which are England boxing qualified or very, very experienced, had many years in the sport, and are currently taking their exams. They're all DBS checked and everything like that. So throughout the week, we run amateur boxing. So inside the club, we have a separate amateur club, which is Strongbox ABC. And it's that club that is registered to England boxing, if you like. So they come down and make an inspection, and you can't be in England boxing club unless your coaches are qualified to a certain standard, and so on and so forth. I'm also a judge as well, so I coach in competitions. So they verify that's okay. So the amateur boxing is on Monday, Wednesday and Saturday morning. And that is kept very, very cheap in order to encourage people to take up amateur boxing. So we have, and that's how that goes. But then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and also on Saturday mornings, we have more of the keep fit and development classes. So we have separate children's classes that start at age 10 to about 15. And they're really for kids to come in who've never tried boxing before, who want to get a bit of fitness, learn the basic rudiments of boxing. That's where they all start. And if on that journey we spot anyone that's any good and wants to take it further, and they've learnt a lot, then they can join the amateur club. Then we have what you call youth classes, and they start about 15 to 16 up to about 18, and they're, if you like, for older teenagers who don't want to be around the little ones as much. And again, they're mixed classes, so male and female. So we have those as well. And then we have our mixed adults boxing and fitness, which is very, very popular on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturday mornings again. So that is hugely popular. We're often sold out and packed out on that, actually. So it's a full body workout with some boxing, and we're well stocked with coaches and equipment, and people love it. And I thought I knew everybody that liked or was interested in boxing in the town, but people are walking through the door literally every week. I've got no idea who they are, and they're coming in and they're saying, I've just moved up from Portsmouth, or somewhere. I was boxing in Portsmouth and I didn't realise there's a boxing club here. Can I join? People are rolling in from all over the place. It is incredible. So we're probably having about 120 people pass through our doors every week.
That's fantastic. What a great success story for the town, Seb, to have, start something up 6 months ago from a dilapidated building to build a club with 120 people coming through the doors every week. That's fantastic. That really is. If people are listening out there and they're thinking, oh, wow, this sounds like what I want to do. I want to give it a go. What's the best way for them to get started?
Well, again, we have lots of new starters come in. They contact us via the website, or they just turn up and knock on the door when we're training. And they come in. We quickly show them around. They then register with us on our website. We have a little registration thing, because to book a class, you do it via an app. We don't take any cash on the door or anything like that. And on the app, of course, you've got your health declarations and all the sort of compliance parts. And then they just come in and book on that. And we start them off. If it's a parent, for instance, that wants their children to get involved, they can email us or just pop by or visit our website. If it's children, younger people, then hassle your parents to bring you down. What's on a Tuesday and Thursday, because we've got two areas. We have a ladies only class Tuesdays and Thursdays. And interesting enough, we have a couple of ladies that come along. They put their children in downstairs and they come out and have a workout upstairs, knowing that the kids are in safe hands and they're taken care of, and they've got a mutual hobby that they're doing, and they're getting a bit of me time as well. So that's incredibly popular, the ladies.
Yeah, that's a really good way of splitting that up, actually, because otherwise, I find this with my kids is you're either going to watch them do something or you have to drop them off somewhere for you to go and do something. Whereas if they can both come along and have a workout, that's a really, really great shout. Seb, 6 months in, sounds like it's going fantastic. What are the next 6 months? What's the next 12 months got in store for you?
Well, actually, obviously, we're key, whilst the club is here for the community and we're doing lots of bursaries and we're giving out lots of help to people in terms of free one-to-one sessions and a few bursaries to people that are either financially in difficult straits or they've got children with difficulties, should we say. I think SEND might be the term. But for instance, I did two young people yesterday that were with their carers that needed the confidence to start boxing and that just a bit of one-to-one encouragement. So we do that. But really, and that's great. We love that side of the community and that's what we're here for, to help people. Also, it's the amateur boxing side. We really are keen to get some of these young people out boxing competitively. Since we opened, as I said before, all sorts of people have walked through our door, many of whom have boxed before. They have trained and boxed before, but locally, as there hasn't been an England boxing club, they haven't had the pathway to get into competition. So for the last 6 months, we've had a load of those guys and ladies, and we've been fine-tuning them, getting them better at what they do, getting them fitter, and probably after Easter, we're ready to put our first half a dozen guys out into competition, really. So we'll see how that goes across the summer, and we'll have them out on various shows and competitions. But then if we can hit next boxing season, which starts in September, and we can think about national youth championships, things like that, then we're thinking if we've got people that are good enough, they can go into national competition. So we'll have competitive boxing alongside the more community-minded aspects. So for us, getting boxers out, competing, will be a great moment, fantastic moment. And if another fantastic moment is if they win, of course, their arms are raised. We are cock a hoop over that. And the other coaches.
But the big thing there is it's getting out into competition, stepping into the ring and giving it a go. That kind of character building process that you're going through with people, building them up. It's fantastic. And I can't believe that, I know you said there've been boxing gyms before, but it's great to have a gym on that kind of England pathway, that boxing England pathway, to go and do those competitions properly. Otherwise, what would they be doing? It's fantastic that you're there doing that, Seb. It really is.
We have a variety of different people come in, and I suppose the perception of boxing is often that they're people from the sort of rougher ends of town. That's completely not always the case, but a lot of times they're people that might not want to be in team sports. Not everybody wants to be in a team sport, and boxing is, you're in a team in your club with your coaches and your teammates, but it's a lonely place when the bell goes and you're inside the ring there, and you'll find out if you've trained hard enough and got the skills and you're ready. We would not put anybody out into competition that we didn't think was ready, either mentally ready, physically ready, in terms of fitness, or ready in terms of their boxing ability. We are very careful. We wouldn't put people out just to see them lose. We want them to be as well prepared as they can, despite what some of their parents want. They want to rush them out, but they have to trust the process and trust their coaches in this.
It sounds like they're in safe hands at the moment, Seb. What's your website? So if people are listening in and they want to reach out and talk to you, Seb, what's the best way for them to do that?
Okay, we're obviously www.strongboxgym.co.uk, and from there it can take you through. You can read about the gym and you can look at booking the keep fit style classes, the boxing development classes, the ladies only, the mixed classes. If there's anybody out there that might need any sort of help, that has, if you like, children or young people that need a bit of extra encouragement, extra help, we're very open to that. And as I said before, we've been doing that. If you're an amateur boxer that's out there, you know what to expect, and we'd love to have more amateur boxers in the gym, although we have 24 or something registered with us already at various levels. And come and get involved, come and see what we do.
What an opportunity. We'll put the link to that in the show notes and on all the social media that we put out for the podcast, Seb. So if anybody out there doesn't know where you are, they can reach out and make contact with you. That's been fantastic. It's been really interesting finding out everything that you're doing down there, Seb. It really, really has been. Are you ready for some Stortford Spotlight questions?
Yes.
Yeah? Fantastic. These are 3 fast questions that we ask every guest that comes onto the Bishop Stortford Community podcast. First question. If you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say and who needs to hear it the most?
Well, I think at the moment, as we're coming up to Easter, I think I'd like to put on a little Easter message and say that really, just be kind to all men and have a great Easter.
Well, that's very kind of you, Seb. But other people have put on adverts for their own gigs, but that's a very nice, welcoming message. Thanks for that, Seb. Question 2. Where do you go in Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure that I quite like going to the Green Dot Cafe in Hockrell, because I think they've got great coffee. I think the food's really good. And whether you're a carnivore like I am or a vegetarian, pescatarian like my wife, there's something there for everybody. And even though I train a lot and shouldn't really be eating it, they have a nice cake as well. So that's a little guilty pleasure for me, the Green Dot Cafe.
Green Dot Cafe
in Hockrell.
Yeah, Green Dot Cafe is fantastic little spot. I've been there with my children a couple of times as well, and they're very accommodating. Have you done one of their pie nights?
I haven't actually, but I have been invited. I think my wife's been, but I've not been to a pie night. And I love a pie, by the way. I love a pie.
Yeah, I love it. I love a pie too as well. I haven't spoken to anyone that's been to one yet, but they do look. They sell out, so they don't need help advertising. They're doing very well on the pie night. So I just want to get a story about how good they are.
Perhaps you should have them on next, then get in touch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll line them up. Okay, last question. Who's doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
Well, actually, apart from us, so I have to speak from my own experience, really. And I think all the sports coaches around the town that are essentially unpaid volunteers, like all of my coaches, whether it's rugby, football, cricket, paddle, whatever you do in golf, I think they're unsung heroes. They help knit society together, and they really are doing good stuff, especially for youth. But in terms of somebody that I think a place that I think is a good place, I'm not sure if you're aware of the Koru Gym in Bishop Stortford. So the Koru Gym is more of a weight orientated fitness gym up by the municipal tip. I think Keith and Steph and Holly and Danny and Ryan, all the PTs in there, they've got a wonderful community. They've got a range of classes, fitness classes, and workout sessions and stuff to suit a lot of people. They're a great bunch of people. There's a great community. They don't know anything about boxing, of course. So for boxing, come to us. But for that kind of fitness, strength, workout stuff, and that high rock style fitness, they are fantastic. They're great people, and it's a good facility. I even use it myself.
There we go. I do like Coro from what I've seen about them online. I do want to get them on the podcast. I've been unsuccessful booking them yet, Seb. So next time you're there doing your workout, drop the podcast in, and we'll see what we can do about booking them on the podcast soon.
Well, I'm looking for a royalty for mentioning them, so I'll go and see them and get my £10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll give you 10 free burpees.
Yeah. What I would say is if there's any businesses out there that think, they could see a way through to being a sponsor for the club and having, their name on some of the lads' T-shirts as they're at boxing, that'd be good. Especially businesses, I think that, it's a good way of getting young people to feed into your business, apprenticeships and stuff. So we help chisel off a few rough edges, get them used to, a bit of hard work and respect, and they can be good employees, some of the young people coming into businesses.
Yeah, it's a great shout. Like any kind of fighting skill, either, boxing or judo or BJJ or anything like that, where there is that element of respect that they learn, which doesn't necessarily get taught through school, makes people more employable. I've worked in apprenticeships myself, so I totally see how that can be valuable. Definitely. And, there are businesses out there that will support, and hopefully by doing this podcast, more people are going to be aware of what you're doing, Seb, and they can reach out, and hopefully there'll be some conversations that we can start there for you as well.
Yeah, we teach them all to practice violence in the gym and kindness outside of it, really. So that's how we view it. And boxing is great for restraint and self-respect and fitness. And it helps them all lead, especially amateurs, helps them all lead a clean life, because to be good, you have to not be taking things you shouldn't. You have to be eating well, sleeping well, training a lot. So it does help them lead a clean life, and all very respectful, to us, the coaches, because I think we have that respect. So they their parents will do a great job, but I think we contribute a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, let's see what we can do about drumming some business up for you there, Seb, to reach out and at least have a conversation and see what some of the bigger businesses can do to support you.
Okay. Well,
what's that website again for people to follow along online?
www.Strongbox Gym.
Excellent. Seb, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
And Angie, thanks, Seb. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the show is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, and share it on your socials, or maybe in someone in town who's not on social media, but you think might be interested in Strongbox Gym, might want to pop down and have a real workout. Share it with them if they're not on social media. And if you've got someone like Seb who's stepping out of the kind of regular comfort zone of gyms in Bishop Stortford, that's creating a space for people to go and build community and build confidence in themselves, that you think we should feature on the podcast, drop their name in the show notes below and I can reach out to them and invite them on the podcast. That's exactly how we got Seb on the show. I put a post out and people shouted that we should get him on the podcast. So do drop their names in the show notes and I can reach out and book them on. Again, Seb, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you, James.